All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So we had some news break late last night, and although it was extremely expected, everybody saw this coming, I wanted to really gauge where you stand on this because from what I've taken away, Jets fans seem to fall in three different camps when it comes to this player. But the Saints decided not to tag safety Marcus Williams. Again, expect him. Nobody really thought that the Saints were going to be bringing back a safety on a franchise tag, which is around $12 million for the second straight year because Marcus played on one last year when they're currently $44 million above the cap. Now, there has been a report that the Saints want to bring Marcus Williams back for a long-term extension. But, look, Tuesday's the deadline. They have to get that deal done before the deadline or else he's scheduled to be a free agent, okay? So time is of the essence here, but really the point of this video is Marcus Williams himself hitting the open market because let's not beat around the bush. Marcus Williams is one of the best safeties in the National Football League. He is going to be the best safety on the market and he should command a lot of money. Now, here's where it gets interesting, okay, because you start projecting him into the Jets' style of defense, with Robert Saleh as a cover 3 safety, as a cover 4 safety. The beauty of Marcus Williams is that he is a versatile player. He never really has to come off the field. He's not one of these liabilities in the back end at all. That's really where he excels. So you're looking at scheme fit, box checked. You're looking at athleticism, box check. Production, you could go down the list. Size, he's 6'1", 195. He's not some one-year wonder style of player. He's literally stacked multiple solid seasons on top of each other, just continues to produce. It doesn't look like Marcus is going to be slowing down anytime soon. Okay, he's entering his prime now. I think Marcus Williams makes a lot of sense for the New York Jets, but it's just the financial situation. Does Joe Douglas, right, after trading away Jamal Adams, after electing not to re-sign or bring back a Marcus May, does he now shell out the big bucks for a guy Marcus Williams? Now, I do feel like Robert Saleh will have a big say in that. Like, if he's pounding on the table, Joe, we need to get this guy in the building. We need to pay him what he wants, what he deserves to get him in the green and white. We got to do it because he's going to be a game changer for this defense. But on the flip side, you can also make the argument and say, hey, you know what? Robert Saleh, being a defensive-minded guy, having a lot of success in San Francisco, he could look at the situation and say, you know what? We never really had that star-stud safety in the back end. I can go make it happen with Tracy Walker from Detroit, a cheap option, a guy who I personally really like, a Justin Reed from Houston, a Quandre Diggs from Seattle if he does hit the market. Maybe a Tart, he's expected to hit the market, and he's obviously had experience with Saleh in that Niners defense. So there's two kind of spectrum, or there's two lenses that you can kind of look at the situation from. And then of course, you could even look at Seattle too, like Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, like their safety position was stacked with when Saleh was there. So it's going to be interesting, but this is kind of where I feel like Jets fans kind of fall. They either really want him, do whatever it takes, land Marcus Williams. He's going to make a humongous difference in the back end of the defense. We have the worst defense in football. We got to make some changes. We can't cut corners. We can't, not really do much and put all of our efforts, all of our eggs in the offensive basket. We have to upgrade the defense. Okay, so that's point A. Point B is maybe saying, you know what? I don't feel comfortable handing out a big contract. I really don't. And real quick, before I move on to the third point, I don't think it's realistic to sign Marcus Williams to a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal. I think this is the time. He just played on the franchise tag a season ago. I think he's going to try to cash in on a 4 to 5 to 6-year contract. Okay, so I think that short-term deal is out of the question, but I don't know. I could be wrong on that. Just an assumption, but going back to Camp B here, I feel like there's definitely a subset of the Jet Nation that is a little weary, right? Like we haven't had that much success with handing out big contracts to big name defensive players. Like think Trumaine Johnson, think Darrelle Revis coming back to the New York Jets after Tampa and New England. CJ Mosley's on a big deal, but he missed the first essentially 2 years with the team. And obviously the Muhammad Wilkerson extension did not work out well either. That was just a complete disaster. So you have the fans that really want to bring him in, do whatever it takes. You have the fans that don't really want him. They want to take that money, use it elsewhere, go for a cheaper option. And then C, and this is kind of like where I fall, I feel like the Jets should definitely see what's up with Marcus Williams, get it, have a certain level of interest, see what he's asking for. If the Jets feel comfortable with paying him that, then do it. But I don't want to be in a situation where, because multiple teams are going to be interested here. Marcus Williams is a great, great player. Again, one of the best safeties in football. I don't want to be in a situation where the Jets say, hey, we can not only just afford you, we want you, we can pay you what you want, and then the Bengals come in, or another team, Jacksonville, just throwing out teams with high amounts of cap space, come in and say, hey, you know what, we really want you too, and we'll pay you a little bit more. And now the Jets have to, bump their contract numbers up as well. So I think if it starts to turn into a bidding war, for me, that's where it gets a little dicey, because I don't want to be stuck handing out a Landon Collins type of deal. If we think back a couple years ago when he signed with Washington, it was 6 years, 90. I believe it was 6 years, $90 million. Or, hey, I mean, even a Jamal Adams extension with Seattle. Like that, it's a lot of money. That is a lot of money for the safety position. Now, I do think Marcus Williams is worth a big contract. I do. If the Jets walk away, day one, day two of free agency, we bring in Williams on a 4 or 5 year deal, and it's, it is considered a mega deal by, tons of people out there. I wouldn't be complaining, not in the least, because I feel like the Jets would know what they're doing, and it would also show that Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh, they have that sense of urgency. They're going to do whatever it takes to bring Williams in because they know he will be a game changer on the defense. So that's kind of where I stand. I want to make that push. I want to have interest in Marcus Williams, but if the contract starts getting absurd, I don't want to just keep putting money down on the table like, yeah, sure, let's go. We got to outbid everybody. And now all of a sudden Marcus Williams is coming in, although he's a great player, but it's like, okay, now we're paying, half of our cap space to one player at safety. So that's my take. I can't wait to see where you stand down below in the comment section. This video went on for 7 minutes. I kind of figured it would be like maybe 3-4 minutes, so a little longer than expected. I appreciate you hanging out all the way to the end. And as always, go Jets.